If you're struggling with money right now, this is the video for you. No BS, just facts and sharing my experiences to change your direction for the better. The news right now is all doom and gloom, inflation, interest rates, policies, tariffs. These are all distractions from the largest contributor to your financial success, you. Today, I'm going to lay out a path forward. There are two main pillars when it comes to improving your financial situation: income and expenses. When you subtract one off the other, you're left with savings. Savings can be invested or stashed away for later at a bank. Savings is what I consider to be the most important financial aspiration anyone can have. It is equal parts power and security. Power to change your environment or situation, and security to do it without a scratch. Have you heard of the concept of FU money? Don't like your boss or your job? FU. Bad relationship? FU. Don't like the government? FU.
Somebody wants you to do something? Fuck you. Boss pisses you off? Fuck you.
The entire concept of FU money is that you can say FU to your surroundings and take action for the better. With savings, you can leave that job knowing you have spare cash to live comfortably until you can find a new opportunity. You can leave an abusive partner and start again fresh without any financial entanglements and hardship. And most important of all, you are the key decision maker in your future and not someone else. For many Kiwis doing it tough, savings is but an aspiration. Everyone wishes they had more money, and for many, there are no savings after all of the costs of life. Going back to what we said before, savings are what's left after taking income and subtracting expenses or costs. So to increase savings, you either need to increase income or decrease costs, or a combination of the two. Everyone's heard to cut the coffees and avocado toast, but those amounts are so insignificant they won't make a difference. Increasing your income is the easiest and most impactful change you can make. Most people think of income as a thing they receive from working. I grew up this way. To earn an income, you need to do the mahi. Get a job. The issue most of us have is we're already in a job and the income is, say, $60,000 a year, and we hope to get a couple % more each year. Problem is, inflation has run between 2 and 7% over the past couple years. So this model of earning an income is flawed. You can try for a promotion, apply for a new role. All those are obvious options you've probably tried at some point. Maybe it worked, but maybe it didn't. So without covering the obvious, the first place I'd start is by dividing up your day. Typically, your income is linked to a job where you're present from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Assuming 30 minutes for lunch, that's 7.5 hours out of 24, or less than a third of a day. Where you can really make the difference isn't the 9 to 5, it's the 5 to 9 p.m. that is. What are you doing after work? Are these activities something to advance or backtrack your financial position? If you're doing the latter, you're missing out on a prime opportunity to generate more income. Here I am filming this video on a Sunday morning. Last night, I had the All Blacks on one screen at my desk and Google Docs on the other, jotting down notes for this video. Some call it hustle culture. I call it getting ahead. So what could this look like? It really comes down to what you're good at, or with YouTube tutorials, could get good at. The low-hanging fruit would include asking your boss for overtime hours, doing Uber deliveries, or picking up part-time work. But the more interesting options that are less obvious involve creating a business. It's super easy in New Zealand to get started as a sole trader. To become a sole trader, you can literally start today with no fuss. An NZBN number is completely optional. The IRD isn't fussed either, as long as you declare your sole trader income in your IR3 tax form at the end of the year. If you earn over $60,000 a year, then you'll need to register for GST. But that's about it. So what can you do as a sole trader with a business? The good news in the digital economy is that there are really no limits. Websites like Fiverr and Upwork allow you to create a post listing your skills and have people work with you to complete tasks. As you can see here on Fiverr, there are possibly hundreds of categories to explore. There is also social media, which is a rapidly expanding field. Companies are now paying people for content that they can use to advertise their business. You can either do that through a page you control, like Jimmy Jackson, or what's called UGC, or user-generated content, which is posted by the client on their page. This couple has been doing the rounds recently, potentially making hundreds of dollars per post. For me, I have YouTube. On the money front, I'll just say that it's in the thousands every single month just from YouTube ads, and that is only a side gig. Hundreds of thousands of Kiwis probably watch YouTube daily, but probably less than 1,000 make content and post. There is no cost to get started. If you have a phone and access to a computer, you can get started today. There is a huge opportunity there to make more income. Now, if you don't want to be on the camera, you can also be behind it. YouTubers, TikToks, or even mayors all have teams of people filming and editing their content. I mostly edit my own stuff, but work with contractors when I'm running behind at a few $100 a video. Every month, I get cold emails and DMs about YouTube SEO services, thumbnail creation, editing, script writing, you name it. There are people out there hustling. This is going to be a massive industry, and people overseas are jumping in and probably making a killing. But all we've talked about here is income from some form of work or business. There are actually 7 broad types of income, so when we walk through them, hopefully it gets you thinking about your situation and opportunities you might be able to explore. First up, capital gains. This is when you buy an asset and sell it for a higher price. At the top end of town, this might be a property. Many people buy, hold, then sell, or somewhere in between do a renovation to extract more value. But at the lower end, maybe you could research how to invest in stocks, crypto, collectibles, or even gold. In addition to a day job and YouTube, I invest in stocks, ETFs, index funds, and gold, all earning capital gains. And in New Zealand, it's generally untaxed. Unfortunately, to get started, you need to purchase assets, which you can only do when you have savings. But you only need $1 to start generally, with local companies like Sharesies and Goldie helping Kiwis get started. So starting slow and building over time is of course an option if you haven't got a lot of savings just yet. Second, there's dividends. This is where your assets pay a periodic income. A stock or share is simply a slice of a business. When the business makes a profit, they share that income with the owners of the stock. So similar to the first point, this is something you could do today, even with $1. Third, there's interest. This is what we earn from the bank when we save money with them. There are lots of options these days, and to make sure you get the highest rate of return, interest.co.nz provides a really useful summary on their website. Fourth, royalties. J.K. Rowling made her money from books. Whenever her publisher sold a copy, they had to share the profits with her. She owns the copyright and trademarks for the content, so they need to pay her. This is what we call a royalty. The other type of royalty is more lucrative, but unfortunately, it has a couple more barriers blocking us from the opportunity. Fifth, we have rent. This is the income you make when someone borrows something. The most common approach is to rent out your house. Lesser known options that are common in New Zealand include getting a flatmate in, renting a room or house on Airbnb, or having overseas students come to stay. If you have a spare room in your house, there's 3 options to increase your income right there. Or if you have a lifestyle property, maybe you could build a sleep out for $50,000 and rent it out for $300 a night on Airbnb or Canopy Camping. Even with the 50% occupancy, you'd have recouped your investment after just a year. So there is a lot of rent income opportunities with housing. But there are hundreds of other rent opportunities out there too. Businesses rent out cars, tents, bouncy castles, tools, trucks, gym equipment. There's really no limits. While I was at university, I had a friend who used to buy air conditioner units in bulk and rent them out during the semester. Usually, the largest cities are the first to get these opportunities. So if you're not in Auckland, Hamilton, Christchurch, or Wellington, maybe there is an opportunity or an idea that you could steal and launch it in your community. It always comes back to the central idea of what value can you provide to others that isn't currently being served. So ultimately, what you do after 5 is critically important. There is no shortage of opportunities, only ambition. I've got about 5 projects on my back burner to make additional income, but I don't have the time to implement them with work and with YouTube. So what will I probably do? I'll pay someone. So this is my point. There are opportunities out there if you create a business to address people's problems. And generally, lack of time is a massive one. Once you've got the ball rolling, you can hire people to grow the business and your income further. But unless you optimize your 5 to 9, you'll be stuck hoping for someone else, whether that's a boss or a government, to change your fortune. And in this economy, the chances of that are very slim. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe down below. I have over 200 videos helping Kiwis and Aussies grow their wealth, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss a future upload. Also make sure to check out these videos here to see more content around personal finance and investing. Thanks for watching, I wish you all the best on your financial journey, and I look forward to catching you on the next one. Cheers.